next one up is a man who has taken something that we have done since kids and turned it into something world champion renowned. And that is that competition where you go 1, 2, 3. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Rock, paper, scissors. So we have Doug Walker. He right now his sort of day gig is with Trigger, which is a design, marketing, communications firm. But he came up with the World Championship Rock, Paper, Scissors Society and Contest. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming up to the stage Mr. Doug Walker.
All right, we got some visuals here. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for having me. My name is Doug Walker, and I am going to talk to you about rock, paper, scissors. But first, if I can get the slides going, I will tell you a little bit about my if question and sort of the start of the journey here. All right. Vaudeville, soft shoe, jazz hands. I guess how I'll start is we all have lots of ideas. We all have lots of different ideas, and there's a few big filters that stop us from achieving certain ideas. The first one is your own brain. If you're anything like me, the number of ideas that I have in any given day, and 99% of them I completely reject. I reject these ideas because they don't seem workable. I don't have the right time or the right money or the experience or et cetera to actually do it. But the second big filter is also our friends. Often when I talk about the ideas that I'm actually having, they're usually the first ones, and maybe I hang around a particularly negative crowd, but they're usually the first ones to actually rain on the parade and give you a whole bunch of reasons why something shouldn't be done. And there's actually a quote from The Office that's one of my favorite quotes, and it was saying that there's always a million reasons not to do something. And it's really true. So many of the ideas that we have, I'm going to really struggle without any visual representation here. How we doing? Is that still loading? Yeah. Yeah. Perhaps I should challenge Adam to a rock, paper, scissors match. All right. So the if question that I actually presented myself with, and I had to do a lot of sort of Monday morning quarterbacking because unlike people like Greg this morning or some other people who've presented today, I didn't always have a goal of actually doing something. I didn't have a specific goal in my mind of what I actually wanted to do. So mine was not so much a drive towards success as sort of a ambling stroll towards success. And so the question that I'm asking is, what if your stupidest idea became the most successful? And that's one of the things that... Well, thanks. I appreciate that. But you know what? I've gone as far as I can without some visual stimulation here. It's more for me than it is for you, these visuals. I'm losing my train of thought. And wonderful. It did before. Hey, Jill, you want to maybe see if they can plug in my computer? If you bring them my bag, I think it's just over there, and they can do that. Because I do have some visuals that it's kind of hard to get the full picture without it. Anyway, so the question being, what if your stupidest idea became the most successful? So I'll go a little bit. Hey, there we go. Okay, that's about the middle. So hit function and all the way back. Function key, and then you'll start at the beginning. Okay, or do it that way. Nope, no. No, that was the master. It's the bottom section here. Scroll up here, all the way up to the top. There we go. Hooray. Technical wizardry. All right, so I can skip through the first couple of slides here. Now, if my clicker's working. All right, maybe I'll just point at you and you can hit forward. There we go. Okay, and again. Again. Okay, so before I get into sort of a little bit about my history, this was something that I'd actually done as a teenager. Now, it didn't look exactly like this, but it looked pretty similar to this. People call them bucket lists or a list of things to do before I die, and it encompassed everything from being an astronaut to being a movie star, driving a tank, all of the things that a young teenage boy wants to do with his life, writing a book, becoming an expert on something, getting interviewed on the 6 o'clock news, all of these things kind of fame oriented. Now, I'm going to flash forward a little bit as I tell this story to 1994. So if you picture 1994, really it was a world before the internet was a big thing. In fact, 1994 was when the internet made its first appearance on the cover of Time magazine. And this is a time when people used words like information superhighway and cyberspace without the tiniest hint of irony, which to me is very humorous in today's day and age. So I came up with a really stupid idea, and my stupid idea was to blow my last year of student loan on a computer. And I'd love to say that I'd witnessed the future of internet communications, but that would be a complete lie. I wanted to play games, and I did. I played a lot of games. But in the process of playing those games, I actually started to learn a little bit about the web. Some of it I did for school, even though I was in history, but some of it was research. Some of it was just plain goofing around and learning about stuff. And it was around, I really happened to be maybe about 6 months before the advertising industry really started catching on to the web and what it was. So I just sort of found myself at this intersection. And then when I left school, I actually got a job with McLaren McCann in advertising, and I landed the absolute dream job for a 23, 24-year-old kid, and it was building a website for Molson Canadian. It was an absolute dream come true. It was probably the most fun I've ever had working in the industry. And one of the coolest things was I was actually the first person in the whole agency to have an email address on my business card. Remember, this is 1994. So it shows you how far we've come in that. So I had a great time working with the agency and did some great work, won some awards, and it was a lot of fun working with all these people. It's a perfect place to work if you like to think when you get out of university. But one of the harsh realities that I learned is that you can come up with all kinds of great ideas, but most of them get watered down either internally or by the client or sometimes even kiboshed. And when you're working in something that a lot of other people don't fully realize, if they don't understand it, the chances of them rejecting it are really high. So around this time, I started coming up with another stupid idea. And the critical moment for this was actually at a cabin up in the wilderness, heavily fueled by beer, which most idea inspiration is, along with my brother. And it was really cold. We had to go out and get more wood for the fire. So like two brothers do, and neither of us wanted to do it, we played rock, paper, scissors for it. And what happened was, because of the sort of beer-fueled reverie that we were having, we started playing, we started trash-talking each other. And we started saying, oh, I knew you were going to do that, and I knew you were going to play this, and knowing him as well as I do, a fair amount of it was actually true. So I kind of got this idea, and I said, boy, I've never seen a website about rock, paper, scissors, so maybe I'll design a website that's about the strategy behind rock, paper, scissors, which I was just starting to glimpse at it. And really that was sort of the second big stupid idea that I had, was that there was more to this game than I actually thought. Now to back up for a second, rock, paper, scissors, simplest of all possible games. And raise your hand if you've actually played this game before. Okay, that's a good 90% or more of the people in there. But just to review the rules, you go 1, 2, 3, and then deliver your throw. Not like Adam was doing. He's doing what's known as a European prime. I'm using the international standard throw of 1, 2, 3, and then go. And really, it's decided between two people that rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock. And the magic of this game is that it's so simple. So what happens when two people start to play this game, essentially the game disappears and it becomes a very pure form of competition between people. And I'm sure you're skeptical, but hopefully I'll be able to prove this to you. So what happened was the development of the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Society. And this was 100% a lie. This society never existed. It hadn't been existing since 1918. All of it, we had our own Latin motto, our own coat of arms, all of these things to try and make it seem like it was a big, ancient, and largely bureaucratic sporting organization. And the coat of arms was chosen specifically because the irony of treating a game that requires absolutely no equipment as a bit of an elitist sport seemed like a lot of fun. So the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Society was really based on three important aspects. Armchair psychology, a very basic grasp of game theory, and a healthy dose of applied bullshit. And so we started, naturally I was in the web industry. This was my excuse to make a website. And if you recall, back to 1995, this is what websites looked like in all their hideous glory. And so, developed, put some articles together, and again, there was a healthy dose of tongue-in-cheek in all of this. But the surprising thing was that it actually started to become quite popular. We developed a community board, a forum, social media before social media had a name, where people all of a sudden started participating. And not only were they participating, they were actually playing a role in this sort of pageant that we'd created. People actually started saying, well, I happen to be the Northeastern Regional Director of Outreach for the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Society, and somebody claimed to be a previous champion from 1968. And they go back and forth, and they started creating these roles, and it became this amazing sort of work of collective fiction. And what happened in the process of all of this is I learned about probably about 100 different names for how the game is called throughout the world, various regional aspects of it, and the cultural significance of it. So we kind of created this center of gravity around the notion of rock, paper, scissors that no one else had on it. So when it got down to it, we really started building, we started developing our own jargon, we started developing our own language, our own culture, in essence, about rock, paper, scissors. And again, it was kind of a joke, excuse me, but it also did have an element of truth to it as well. So over the years, we improved the website a little bit. This is probably about 1997, 98. This is pretty close to what the website looks like now. So again, we sort of improved it year over year. And during the course of this, we actually started selling memberships in the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Society. And who would have thought you'd want to carry around a card, but close to 8,000 people did. And we started selling T-shirts for rock, paper, scissors, and we actually got a bit of a war chest together. And my brother, who is also my partner in this, we decided, you know what, let's do something with all of this money, because we just kind of put it aside in a bank, and we wanted to plow it back into the idea somehow. And so then the critical stupid idea happened, which was in 2002. We wanted to have a party, my brother and I, so we invited our friends. And we said, you know what, we'll have a rock, paper, scissors competition. We'll actually get people to play against each other, and we'll take all the money that we've made, which is about, I think it was about $1,500 or $2,000 at the time, and put it all up for grabs for the grand prize. And because nobody had ever done this before, we said, what the hell? It's the World Championships of rock, paper, scissors. So at a dingy bar in Toronto with about 300 people, and the only form of promotion we had was the website and a press release that we actually sent out. We developed the International World Championships of rock, paper, scissors. Now, what was amazing about this is we got some pickup from local newspapers. It was in the middle of a freak snowstorm, and we had we sold out in 20 minutes. We had a lineup 4 blocks long of people who couldn't get into the event, and people were actually scalping tickets on the inside for over $250. It was completely unbelievable, and we never would have imagined that it would have hit this kind of nerve. We were just having a party for our friends. So we started to realize that there was actually a lot more to it. So this is the next year, in 2003, when we had the one. And you can't actually see any of this, but this is CNN, CBS, and ABC all competing to play over this guy who's known as Master Rochambeau, who's, by the way, kind of the Michael Jordan in the rock, paper, scissors world. And it was absolutely phenomenal, and the media just drove this to a level we couldn't have possibly imagined. And I'll give you an idea. So sort of 2003, 2004, this is a bit of a montage, and it'll give you a bit of a flavor for the event as well.
Do you remember playing rock, paper, scissors? Well, of course. Well, our Melinda Murphy has found a group of adults who have taken it to a whole new, perhaps even absurd level.
That would be the Rock, Paper, Scissors Championships.
Let's talk about the Rock, Paper, Scissors Championships.
Yes.
What is it?
Rolling Stones called and said, we're not sure if this is real, but let us know if you'd like to go.
But first, the beloved Rock, Paper, Scissors duel has long last earned its own world championship, and Daily Planet had front row seats.
Now, you've heard of rock, paper, scissors. You've played rock, paper, scissors, but you've never seen it like this.
They've come from everywhere.
Chicago.
Calgary.
Montreal.
Hamilton.
I'm from Washington, D.C.
We're from the Czech Republic.
I'm from Oslo, Norway.
I'm representing Australia, and we're here to take it away.
I came from the UK just for this. I can't miss this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you one and all from all four corners of the earth to the World 2003 Rock, Paper, Scissors Championship.
Tonight is about the World Championships. 364 days of the year, it's all fun and games. Today, it's serious. Yesterday was tense, all these cameras and lights.
With the lights, the cameras, the media, crowds cheering for you or against you, all of that can be fairly intimidating. We had NBC, we had CBS, Rolling Stone magazine came up. It was a total media frenzy.
Now with us today is a new world champion. There he is, Rock Kruger.
You are the world champ. We'll be right back.
My next guest recently beat out 320 competitors to become the world champion of rock, paper, scissors. Please welcome Rob Kruger. I felt like you were the world champion, and I took you to the edge, dude.
That's when an agent contacted us about publishing the Rock, Paper, Scissors Strategy Guide. There's a documentary that's being made on this whole sort of phenomena. Now it's going to be broadcast on Fox. We're doing an hour-long program of this thing.
The 2004 Rock, Paper, Scissors International World Championships.
Good luck to all the competitors. You're all winners except for all of you who lose.
So, thank you. I'm actually hearing a little bit of laughter, and I'm really curious as to what's so funny. That's right. Okay, so let me back up for a second as well. One more aside before I continue on with the story. A lot of people are probably sitting there going, okay, a bunch of grown people playing rock, paper, scissors, but it's just a game of random chance. You know, how can that possibly be fun? But the truth is, and there's actually a lot of mathematical science and game theory to back it up, is believe it or not, rock, paper, scissors is one of the only games in the world that has zero element of chance to it. And one of the reasons I can tell you about this is over thousands and thousands of throws that are actually occur at the World Championships or through online games or through any of the other competitions that are held, you would actually expect to find that rock, paper, and scissors would be played roughly one-third, one-third, one-third. That's what mathematics would tell you. That's what probability would tell you over the long run. But through literally tens of thousands of different throws, I can assure you that it's not even close to that. Rock occurs about 37% of the time, paper about 35% of the time, and scissors is seriously underrepresented at 29. So if you're only going to play rock, paper, scissors, and you're playing against somebody who doesn't play very often, paper is by far your best opening throw on that. So that's just a little tip, but if you're playing against an expert, all bets are off. So what actually happened next, after all of the attention that we got on this, we were approached by an agent who wanted to help us write the official Rock, Paper, Scissors strategy guide, which my brother and I did. We actually had a small bidding war of 6 different publishers to actually purchase the rights for the book, which was unbelievable. And it was Simon & Schuster that actually won out. The book was published in 2004. We also got a documentary crew that followed us around, a Calgary-based documentary crew that followed us around for about 3 years, chronicling the whole experience of developing the World Rock, Paper, Scissors Society. Now, one of the biggest decisions that we had, and I can't believe I'm up here saying this to you, was choosing between who would air the World Championships of Rock, Paper, Scissors, Fox Sports or ESPN. And it's amazing how critical this decision was to our success. because ESPN basically said, you can have complete control, but you've got to fund the production. Fox Sports says, we'll pay you, but you get to do it. But we have final rights on how everything is done. And if you see, the culture of rock, paper, scissors, the culture that we were trying to create was really important to us. In the end, what it came down to was really a bit of a question between art and commerce. My brother and I sort of saw the creation of the Rock, Paper, Scissors Championships as a bit of an art project, really. It was a living, breathing art project where all kinds of people were participating in it, and we were seeing what happens and seeing where it went. We ended up going with Fox Sports, and we went with Fox Sports because they paid us, and you know what, we'd worked a lot of time on this for not a lot of money. And so what I'm going to show you now very quickly is the most exciting moment from the Fox Sports broadcast.
It was Ashley one-out Mason versus Ben Rossiter, and take a look at what happened in the final set. Ben threw rock. Ashley appeared to throw paper to tie the match 1-1, but the referee stepped in and awarded the point and match to Ben, citing an illegal throw from Ashley. Then it was chaos. You hate to see a game decided by a ref, but let's take a look at the replay here. 1, 2, 3, and yes, it was a great call by the ref. Let's see it again in super slow-mo. Ashley attempting sleight of hand. She settles on rock, switch to paper. There's no room for cheaters here.
So in the process of this, I learned that not having creative control takes something that is actually a lot of fun in person and makes it kind of bland on television. It was a funny moment. The rest of the broadcast wasn't all that great. So that was a really valuable lesson that we learned, is maintaining the creative control over these things is really critical. But also what ended up happening was all kinds of other nations actually started holding their own world championships, or their own national championships, and sending their winners to the world championships. So here, Norway, Great Britain, and New Zealand, excuse me, Jill. Jill's from New Zealand. I apologize for screwing up your flag. But we actually had a whole bunch of these tournaments popping up all over the place. So one of the points that I wanted to make is, I started this as an ad guy. I didn't have the experience at either event management or writing or design or all of the things that we actually had to do with this. And this is actually just a short list of all of the different sort of things that I needed to do and needed to learn as a process of going through this. And it was an amazing experience. And I can't say I'm honestly a master of any of these things, but I'm at least marginally competent in all of these things now. And it really made me realize that, similar to what Greg was saying, you start on a path, and maybe the best way of putting it is, if the risk of humiliation is greater than the effort it takes to succeed, that's the kind of position I want to put myself in, because that's my drive, is a fear of humiliation. So the thing that kind of kept us going, just to sort of finish up, it sounds like a lot of fun, and the event itself was a lot of fun, but it was probably about 6 weeks of work every year to get this event going on, organizing schedules, putting the event together, organizing media, television, all the rest of it, for really not a whole lot of money. And we kept it going for 9 years. I am thinking about doing it again, but the last time we held one was in 2009. I am looking to actually start it up again. But the thing that kept us going was, it was the only event I'd ever been to that was adult-focused and that was pure fun. Pure, absurd, ridiculous fun. And it was absolutely amazing to see people who probably never would have spoken to each other, probably never would have turned to somebody, but because of this shared sense of absurdity that they were all experiencing, the conversations that happened between people. We've already had 5 marriages from people who have met at our events. I can't tell you how many times we've had relationships sprung up, and now some of my best friends who I never would have known are people who literally showed up at this event, because we all shared sort of this ability to kind of take something really silly, really seriously for a period of time. Whoops, I'm hitting backwards. Oh, and of course, sorry, we've got to wait for this to load. Almost done here. Okay, so as a result of this crazy experience, I actually managed to check 5 things off this to do before I die. Be a star in a movie. I actually won a Guinness World Record for holding the largest rock, paper, scissors tournament. Imagine that. Became an author, got interviewed on the 6 o'clock news. In fact, I've been interviewed over 700 times on this subject. There literally is no one who knows more about this ridiculous subject than I do. And I am the leading expert on this. So there's still a couple of things to check off. So if anybody knows where I can drive a tank, I'd appreciate it so that I can actually do that. So the question that I wanted to ask you is, when we look at this stupid idea, we look at really, is there an idea that's so stupid that if you really execute it and you really go for it, cannot be successful? So the question that I'd like to ask back to you guys is, what if you weren't so quick to label your ideas as stupid? What if you actually gave them some off-leash time and let them run out there and have some fun with it? I never could have predicted this would have been successful. I never intended it to be successful, but it just kept going because of other people's participation in it. So once the vision was defined, all kinds of people started participating in it and making their own, and now there's literally hundreds of tournaments a year that we have nothing to do with, that are simply people taking the notion and using it on their own. So my hope is that through liberal application of rock, paper, scissors, the world is hopefully a slightly more decisive, less violent place. So there's less things to fight about, and your small challenges of life can be solved through rock, paper, scissors. And that is it for me. Thank you very much for having me.